Why doesn't Shonda like diversity? And who fell in love on the How to Get Away with Murder set? All that and more coming up on this week's Shondaland Weekly.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Beans, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, raw, dog, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys, rat. Beans, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams,
Thanksgiving week. We had to open up with it. I'm getting hungry. I don't even know what this is.
Right.
I don't know what else this is.
That's food. That's the system.
Right?
All the way.
I'm with it. I'm so here for it.
Hey guys, thank you for joining us again this week for Shondaland Weekly. I'm Elle Marie, and you guys can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Elle Marie TV.
And I'm Tori Broussard. I'm glad to be back, guys. I missed a week. Sorry I sound a little congested, but you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tori_Broussard.
Yes, we are so happy to have you back. Tori's back, and so is the wine. Hey now.
Yes, it is back.
I'm Keith Andre. You guys can follow me all over social media at Keith_Andre.
Yes, I'm so happy that the wine is back. Oh, and you, Tori. I guess. No playing, I love her. What's up, you guys? I'm Lynneisha. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lynneisha, spelled Lanisha 914. Everyone knows how it's done, okay? Let's go.
Let's get into this wine.
Yes.
Guys, the wine is back.
And it's
We
a
had
white
sugar last
wine.
week.
Yeah, I'm about to call out all my co-hosts because Coca-Cola.
It
Really?
was good.
It was all we had.
You know.
Would you rather have nothing or
Yes.
some Coca-Cola?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Well,
Nothing.
I would have rather had nothing.
Excuse me.
That's okay. You're back
Anyways, yes, we are back.
with the
Sorry,
white
guys.
instead
With
of
the
a-
white,
Yes.
yes. So this one actually, when I was in Atlanta, my aunt asked me kind of what I wanted to drink. Of course, I said Chardonnay. I should have been a little bit more specific. I have never heard of David Stone, but she got 2 bottles, so I brought one back. It's a dry wine, which I like dry, but it also has like a sweet aftertaste. So you guys might like that. It's got apples and pears, pineapple,
Nice.
some other citrus fruits. It's from California, so let's toast
Sounds like
to
fun. Chardonnay usually isn't easy.
TGIM.
Yes.
Yes.
Salud.
I'm trying to
It's
see
not
like
where
it.
I feel like that
sweet.
sweetness, but I think it
Yeah.
takes away from the dryness a little bit. Like it
I
is
agree.
dry, but it's not that dry, and I think
Right.
that that's the sweet part of it.
right.
Yeah.
Because I've had bitter, and this isn't that, like...
Yeah, it's a nice balance
Yeah.
to it because after the fact, after you hit the dryness, it rolls right into the sweet. So.
Yes, that's that was something
could dig it.
different. Usually I like dry all the way through. And it's not extra dry. I know that can be a little too much sometimes. So
Yeah.
A little
Good, okay.
heartburning.
This was nice.
David
I like
Stone,
it. Yeah.
Yes, I'm here for
good
it.
job. Okay, I'll
One
take
more
it.
sip.
Maybe I'll get you a bottle for Thanksgiving.
Oh, yay. That'll be exciting. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the news
Yes.
with Shonda News. So,
Oh, I like this.
Okay.
Hey.
Uh-huh.
Shout out to our engineer Anthony. Okay.
we see you, Anthony. So, as I open the show with, why does Shonda have a problem with diversity? And it's not diversity, it's the word. Because she said in her acceptance speech at the induction of the TV Hall of Fame that she hates that question. She gets asked that question a lot in interviews. Like, people are always asking her, like, what made her show so much diversity in her characters and in her shows and things like that. And she's always like, she hates it. And she basically said, like, she wants it to be the normal. Like, she wants to
Right.
normalize diversity. Like, you look at it and it's not different, it's just normal.
Yeah, I like
What's your
that.
take on that?
I honestly do, because people do use the word diversity a lot to, like, separate you. Why can't we just be normal? Like, I think she's trying to glue it into people's head. Like, there's no separating it. We're all people. We're all the same. We're all normal.
Yeah, and she said herself, like, in that interview that I guess when we don't see diversity, there's that opportunity to marginalize or stereotype what we know or what we think or what we've been told. So, like, when we see maybe, like, an all-white cast and they make a joke about, you know, African Americans, well, like, if there's not an African American to represent you know, that joke or whatever the case may be, then we tend to like, I guess we tend to kind of like perceive what we want, even if it's not right. And that's obviously not fair.
Yeah, I agree, because your view is slanted. My whole thing, Shonda has been talking about normalizing as opposed to calling it diversity for years and years and years. And for me, I just don't see what the problem is with calling it what it is. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, they mean the same thing, right? We're trying to make, you know, I say trying to make diversity normal. She's trying to normalize it and just feel that it shouldn't be this big deal, or it shouldn't be something that people see. But we live in a world where it is a big deal, where it is something that's not easily accessible or easily seen. So as similar as we are, and as we are on like a same journey in human nature and human beings, I get that for sure, but I don't think there's a problem with recognizing that we are different, that we are diverse people in different backgrounds. And I think that there can be beauty in that too, because with Shonda, it's bigger than normalizing, because normalizing would be if we just see like, you know, representations of our cultures in a way. Like if we saw a show that was like an all-black cast with, you know, different kind of black people on TV. I feel like that's more apt to be considered normalizing. But diverse is like you really see people from different walks of life exist and coexist every day. So
and all in one show, like the way that she does. But that's
exactly.
all in one.
It's all there. They all have a connection, and that's what we don't have so much. I know I don't have so much in my day-to-day life. So I'm gonna call it diversity. Girl.
And I think with the word diversity, like that has a different meaning, you know, depending on where you live. So like obviously in the South, a lot of people like to say diversity is, you know, a lot of white people with a few black people, or a lot of black people with a few white people. But when you come to California, or maybe even New York, diversity has every race and ethnicity represented. So I think changing the word to normalizing, it's like
I think it's also with her upbringing, because she mentioned how her mother raised her, and the fact that also she was you know, middle class, grew up in the suburbs, went to a private school, and her parents, her mom especially, did what they could, I guess, to kind of keep those negative things from her, as far as maybe racism or even sexism and things like that. So for her, they sheltered her from that, or kind of protected her from that. So then therefore, like, she didn't see anything wrong with her everyday lifestyle, and she probably was, and kind of in a mixed community, and so it was normal for her. You know, and then I think so, like, I think that's where it comes off, like, where she's like, but this is normal, it's her normal.
Exactly.
But then it's like, you have to kind of still, you have to come out of your bubble, though.
And not only, because looking at even a worldwide view, or just looking at the entertainment climate, if you just look at that aspect of it, it's not, you know what I mean, like a normal situation. I don't think there's anything wrong with what she's doing, because ultimately what she is doing is just that, you know, she's giving us diversity. She's giving us different people working in different areas from all different, you know, types of life. But I'm fearful that with the language type of thing, with the world we live in, that it can kind of minimalize the impact of it, because if it's just normalizing, to me, I feel like it's still, we live in a time where diversity is still important, and I think that word still holds meaning. So
I agree with you. And then even with her, she says, and this really struck me, where she was like, you can't be what you can't see, you know. And she was speaking of, you know, wanting to be, she just always knew she had this great imagination and wanted to use that in a way, I guess she knew she wanted to use it through television, you know, and just be really successful. And so she started to get this in her speech to describe Oprah, before she said it was Oprah. And then Oprah was all shocked. Girl, you knew she was talking about you. Okay, who else was on TV?
Like,
show at that time. But besides that, you know what I mean? She was talking about growing up, seeing this other successful, strong black woman on the TV, which made her feel like, I can do that. So, you know, I kind of feel, it's like, I feel in a way she kind of contradicts herself with that a little bit.
I see.
Because it's like, well, but we need that, so that the other little girls, whether it's you are a black little girl, whether you are a Latina little girl, whomever, you know what I mean? As long as you see yourself in something else than the norm of what people tell you can be in your society, then, you know what I mean? You can reach for the stars.
I definitely see where you're going with that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yes.
Tori's just happy to be back.
I am. I really missed you guys. I was so excited when I woke up this morning. I was like, they're gonna be my co-host.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to our next story, which is talking about Shonda and the art of storytelling, is what she did in a TED Talk.
Yeah, she actually talked a lot. I mean, the first question that she was asked is, what's never going to change about storytelling? And the first thing that she said was good stories. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a given. But I also think we kind of take that for granted a little bit. You know, like there are so many good stories out there.
Yeah.
But then there are also like really bad stories out there, actually. When I thought about it, I was like, okay. But later on in the interview, she was asked, you know, like, how is the business model changing and that anybody can be a storyteller? And it kind of relates back to her first question where she answered there are so many good stories. And she said that it's a scary idea to think that you can't find the good stuff or the good stories because everyone's doing it. I think she said like
so
400 plus dramas are on at any given moment, at any given time of the day. So because of that, you can't find really what you're looking for, because think of out of all 400 that are on, well, how many of those, over half, are bad?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was interesting to think that, like, it's great that anybody can tell their story and everybody's got different stories, but how do you classify a good story from a bad story? And that's kind of like just what I've been pondering on ever since I watched all 20 minutes of that interview.
Yeah.
Because I really don't know. I think we see that on networks, you know, with like, you know, a show being on for like one season.
Yeah, and
Right.
you
It's,
can't
like,
really
done.
tell about like stuff that other people are not interested in. Maybe you're actually interested in, or maybe
Right.
vice versa, the other way around. So
Right.
how do you really know like what drove people away specifically from that story?
Yeah.
And what I love that you said, Tori, a lot of those stories are redone. We've seen it,
Yeah.
not
Right.
even just in television, in movies too. I've seen the same story done
Yeah.
over and over
Right.
and over.
Right.
But that's what can be good about this platform with AfterBuzz, because then people can come here, kind of get a quick synopsis of what the show may be about, and then
Yeah.
may be able to feel like, okay, maybe not this one, instead of wasting a whole, you know, hour,
Right.
season, days, weeks of your life,
Yeah.
you know, to figure
Yeah.
out like, okay, this really wasn't it. It wasn't worth my time.
I agree for sure, because it is hard to gauge. I feel like sometimes you're just basing it on, because I feel like ultimately you can tell like what a good story is, but then you have to determine, okay, well, how long am I willing to give myself to get into the story, or you know, how much wind down time do I have today to what I want to watch? I feel like a lot of times I go to like Hulu or Netflix and I'm, you know, flicking, I'm trying to read and figure it out, but I'm like, that takes too much energy to invest in something, so let me just go to like Judge Judy, or, you know what I mean? Just something that's just super duper random. You're not really getting, you know.
I end up watching so much fluff. That's what I call it. Like, let me just watch some fluff.
But it's really like I want to find something to like consume with media and to take away. But because it is so much, it's like, I'd rather just suck it up and wait until my real shows
it's
come on.
interesting that you brought that up, because later on, she says, what's something that's exciting for content creators? And she was basically talking about the value of like Amazon and Hulu and Netflix. And then at the very end, she said sometimes something is not worth watching 14 seasons of. And it kind of goes back to like what you were saying, as far as, you know, how long am I going to, you know, designate or donate my time to a specific show? And she was like, as somebody who has a show that's been on for 14 seasons, I have people who have watched every season on television. And then she says, but I forget about, you know, the 12-year-old girls in the grocery store who binged watch 396 episodes in 3 weeks.
Right.
Me. So it's like, that's what makes, you know, like content creators great, as far as like Netflix and Hulu, because you can pick and choose and binge watch if you like at the same time, and come back like in the middle of an
It's
episode.
always there.
So
you can pick up whenever you're ready.
And
to.
skip an episode if you feel like, you know what, this one.
Exactly.
This one's
I can doze off on here. You know, like Law and Order. SVU is a show where you can always doze off, and no matter
you
you
can
can wake
go
up
back
and
to
it's
that.
it's 3 episodes later. You still know what happened because you've seen it before. So it is good to have those platforms. But I think it is an interesting conversation to have, like the art of storytelling, as you look at, you know, so many people who are in this genre and who are interested in like creating content.
Right.
Because as a content creator, you really have to figure out what is it that I want to do and what's the best way to do this so that I can get the best impact out of it.
Exactly.
Well, the best shows are the ones with the cliffhanger. That's all I gotta say. Because when I be binge watching, I like to not know what's gonna happen.
It's gotta be a good cliffhanger, though.
Right.
Really
Sometimes
does.
just because if it's a cliffhanger, you like, I already know.
That's what I
how
mean,
this is gonna
because
end.
sometimes there's cliffhangers that are predictable. Like,
Right.
oh, I already know what's going to happen, so I don't even need to watch
Yeah,
this show.
that's true.
But then there's the one where you really want to tune in, like, How to
Right.
Get Away with Murder.
Okay, I'm skipping past
I gotta say that to
what
Tori.
happened last week.
I
Let's
got
get right
to
to
Lynneisha
it.
Stay's coming for me. I don't know what it is.
She came for How to Get Away with Murder.
Yeah.
Well, she was also asked, like, who is doing good TV storytelling right now.
Right.
And she said that there's a lot out there, but something that she's noticed is British TV. So I don't know if you guys have watched it, European television. Go see if they have good cliffhangers.
I haven't.
Come back and let us know.
I've seen
I
a
will
little
let you
bit.
know
I've
with
seen
the
a little.
British.
I've
Yeah.
seen Orphan Black. That was on BBC.
Yeah.
And that was a really good show.
BBC, they do have good programming, and it's something that they've been working at for a while now.
Yes.
So it's nice to see them, get this recognition.
Yeah.
But I agree with that. I think they do good television. But outside of that, who does here?
I was wondering. I was like, I've actually seen a good amount of British TV, mainly sitcoms though, like 30-minute ones. But like the way it's structured is, they usually just have a 6 episode long a season, so it's a little different. But
Yeah.
you can burn through them real quick. One of the ones that I've loved, it's been the IT Crowd was British, and also
I've heard of
Lovesick.
that.
Lovesick was a good one as well that I saw recently. It's pretty funny. It's about a guy who gets gonorrhea, and he has to tell. No, not gonorrhea. My bad. Chlamydia. Yeah.
That's better.
And he has to tell like his past lovers that he has that, and every time he tells a lover, it goes into the story of how he met her and how they came about to the
my
point.
God.
It's a really funny show. I love it. But yeah, there's been huge shows like also Sherlock.
Yeah.
Is a huge one with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
But two things I was gonna say. British TV, they push the envelope a little bit more.
They
than we
do.
do.
Yeah.
They
Because
absolutely
I don't
do.
think it would have to be on HBO or something like that, and like later at night for a show where they're just always talking about chlamydia every week.
Yeah,
Oh my
I completely agree with you.
I would be like,
Their humor is much more raunchier. For sure.
Yeah.
There was
For
one
sure.
called Bubblegum, actually. I think
Do
that's
I
what
know
it's
this?
called.
Right,
No,
I'm
it's called-
nervous.
It's called Chewing Gum. It's,
Oh, I
Oh,
saw
I've
that.
seen that.
Netflix.
First 2 episodes, and I was
It's so
done.
funny. It's
I just
so
saw
funny.
one episode and I wasn't into it.
Yeah, they definitely have a different style to their comedy as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They do. Wow.
That's
okay.
interesting.
Mm-hmm. But I do like that they do like the shorter seasons and things. I think that makes it interesting too.
Yeah.
Or
They
they
have
do
a
like
short
parts
attention
like
span.
4 to
It's like-
6.
Well, funny that you guys bring that up because they also talked about this in the interview. Snapchat is now coming out with like 1-minute shows.
What?
They are calling it shows. And I was like, well, that's like not enough, and it's for people who have short attention spans, which I get. And she was like,
These monsters.
right.
That's crazy.
But the comment that she made was, well, yeah, if you're my 14, 15-year-old daughter who can't focus for longer than a minute. And I'm like, exactly. What about all the adults?
But for the adults, I feel like if you look at kind of just going back to like content creating, if you look at like the digital space that we live in now or ways to kind of market yourself, it's smart to do it in that way. Because if you go through Instagram, you got what, 1:30
Yeah.
maybe? I remember a while ago I did like an Instagram, like an IG series, like I know this, like just maybe 1 minute, 1:30 like stories, just talking about little stuff. So I think that's a really good idea actually, and I think it's something that A, people are always going to see, and then B, you're not worried about trying to get somebody to click back into your site, because the way we consume media, the way we consume news and music is just at these middle passages. It's the IG, it's at, the shade room, whatever it is. But how often are you clicking on the actual site? How often are you going any step further than
That's
whatever
true,
you
if you're
can
already on
scroll
social
through
media. Okay.
and
That's a
get?
good
So
point.
it would be interesting to see how, because I feel like if you're going to do a 1-minute show, you're putting a whole bunch of time, you're putting a whole bunch of money into like editing something and getting it down. But it,
gonna be
it
like
could
that.
work.
But how
It
do
could probably
you-
work, yeah, because it'll be like bits and pieces, and then you'll be sitting there like a fiend waiting for the next one, because
Just
it's
do a
like
whole
it's
lot of
not that. I feel like it's not that much content that they can fit into a minute.
In a
you know
minute,
what I mean?
for
Like
sure.
they'll get you. It'll be enough to get you hooked to say, okay, well, what's gonna happen on the next one?
Yeah.
But I mean,
So I
it
can
has
see
to
that
be
point.
really good to give you that
True,
hook. You know what I
true.
mean? Like, think about it. a show, not marketing yourself, because I can easily go make a 1 minute, you know, Snapchat
Easily.
video. I do it now, you know. So what would these shows include that would keep me wanting to see more or wanting to know what's going to happen next after a minute? Because think about
I don't know
it.
what makes it a show. To
Even
be
in a
honest.
30
Yeah.
minute, that's what I'm saying. Maybe call it something else, and then like if you want to do those 1 minute like advertising marks, because that's how I see it as.
They're gonna use that 1
think
minute to rant. That's it.
Or it's like a
No,
super-
even if
it
then
is
it's like,
for.
what's the
Or like
point?
a super
How is
short.
this like?
I think it
Yeah.
has to. It's gonna come down to the imagery, to like what. It's not gonna be about the dialogue, because you only have a minute. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
Whatever it is, I just feel like they'll, in some way, however they create it, they will get your curiosity. They will make you curious about something in the show, and then boom, like the minute is up, and then
Yeah.
that's what's gonna draw you. So it would depend on them how creative that they can be
Exactly.
with it, and how much they can draw you in. But if they're able to deliver that, then I could see how it will work.
Yeah, I think it's a super interesting idea. And ultimately, all it takes is somebody interested in seeing it enough. You don't even have to buy into the show to subscribe or, you know, to follow something. And if it's always a minute, I'm always going to scroll through. I'm going to see what they're talking about, and then I'm going to go next. So I
If
would love to
anything,
see
it's
that.
gonna be a comedy. I don't think it's gonna fall into drama at all.
Listen, I'm about to make a mental note. Let me see what I can come up with, y'all. We're going to do some
I feel like it could be
I'll be saying, do it
brainstorming.
in a minute and let's see that drama. I better be crying or
It could
going
be
to
It's going to be a
like
long season.
Some reality drama, like
I
reality
better be
show
like, oh my
type.
God.
Listen.
A minute of that
That's
can-
where you...
I'm about to make me a Snapchat.
Okay. Oh, we just going to do it on IG. That's all that is.
I can't.
Change
It's
platforms.
It's too much. Because I just see myself clicking
Right.
through it, and then
Oh,
was
that's
it really
true.
I
Okay,
see myself
okay.
getting annoyed.
right? And then
Now
it's
you
like
got a
this
point.
really
You got a
wasn't
point.
fulfilling. You know, at least a show on a network like ABC or NBC or whatever,
Right.
and then even on Netflix and Hulu.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll even
make
take shows
me
on YouTube.
feel as if I'm a part of the show. You know
do
what I
have a
mean?
point
Yeah, their
there.
marketing would have to be strong.
Snapchat or
then.
Instagram stories don't do
Because
that.
that
half the time.
Snapchat, yes, I'm
You just
clicking
click
right on
through.
through.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I go real
Unless
fast.
it's the
I'll be
ones I
this
want
is
like
taking too
for
long.
award shows and events and things like that. Sometimes I am there to see
Yeah.
what's going on. If there's
Right,
they
that's what it's
add the
great
families
for.
in
Behind
there. So
the
I think if
scenes.
they
If you miss something,
Yeah.
it's great.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're trying to watch and
Just
get
a
a
random
little
you don't know about
fulfillment,
it,
No.
That's interesting though. That's
I'm not feeling
because
it.
I was so like, oh, it could be done. Then I was like, oh yeah, I
all
do
three
be.
of y'all.
listen. I'm going to do a little bit of research because
be
I
like-
think it's such an innovative idea.
If the marketing is there and you
Keith, you really gonna try this?
I just
already
think it's
know.
really interesting.
if people know about it before, so then maybe they'll
You
give
don't
it a
even got to
chance.
know about it before. You just got to drop it on them.
No, because then they're gonna skip it.
They not
I'm
gonna
gonna skip.
You ain't gonna skip. Y'all ain't gonna
Like, you're
skip
not gonna
this.
skip this.
I don't know. I want
right,
to know
Keith.
more. That's really
my God.
You go do your
interesting.
research. Bring it back to us next week. Let me
See
know what you
what
got
we come
stirring
up
up
with.
in that head of yours.
We should do a 1 minute something.
Okay.
Next.
Please.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get into this playlist of Shonda's rhymes.
Shonda Rhimes.
I'm
This is
my own side effects.
Our
This
own
is
little-
my first playlist, like
Yes.
segment, so I'm
Yes.
super excited.
So, Tori, tell us about your playlist.
Okay, so the first song that I do not hear.
Oh, you gotta talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Don't wait
Tori
on
wasn't here
it.
last
It's coming. Right.
It's okay,
My
guys.
God.
She just got back.
Right.
Blame it on my allergies.
What's the name of it?
It's called Where Does the Good Go?
Okay.
I know you know this song.
So
Marie
last
don't be
week,
knowing no. She don't be knowing no song. She made that very clear last
I was
week.
gonna say, so
Oh,
last
okay.
week,
She's just
Alrighty,
watching the
let me
show.
Okay.
when I hear it, I'll remember. But like
okay.
when you say the title and the
So it's by Tegan and Sarah, and this is the song that Meredith and Christina danced out to on their last dancing out before Christina left. So it's very dear to my heart. I even remember some of the dance moves.
Oh,
I remember that now.
Meredith goes,
aww.
and Christina goes, "You love this
I
song."
don't know. I was gonna say Christina's is always
Right.
just like this.
But just listen,
Hair
it
flinging.
just makes you go.
That's a good one.
It still didn't really register. I remember the scene, but the song.
See?
Exactly.
But anyways,
Good choice.
I just picked it out because it was like, it's always the first thing that pops into my head when
Yeah.
somebody mentions Grey's Anatomy. So, my next song is Kiss Me by Ed Sheeran.
Aww.
It is also from Grey's Anatomy. It's Ben and Miranda's wedding song,
Oh.
which was
I don't know Ben or Miranda. I don't know those people.
I don't know.
Bailey.
Oh.
Miranda
Yeah.
Bailey,
There
yes.
you go.
You know, what,
was like,
the
who is
Nazi?
Miranda?
Is that what they
Yeah,
call it? The
Ben
Nazi?
Miranda.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I was
He was
like,
like,
don't
who is
turn your
Miranda?
ass.
And then the soon-to-be
You-
firefighter.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
I
So
mean,
he's like later on, so you probably don't know
Haven't
his
seen
character.
What's his
Yeah.
name again?
I don't know.
He
But
probably
she
stopped
was
at like
getting
4 or
married
5.
to a man. I think he was there.
I'm officially gonna binge watch.
Yes, you need to.
I'm not talking about Grey's Anatomy with
But
Keith
this
anymore.
was, this was a feel-good song. And I just
Yeah.
also came back from a wedding, and so I was kind of in like that wedding mood.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes.
Look at
Get
you.
people all up in their feelings.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, it's almost
You just sip on this
Thanksgiving.
wine.
This is good. I keep sipping on it.
I'm glad you like it, girl. I'll let my aunt know she did a good job. And then my third song was actually a song from Scandal that I believe has been played multiple times, usually within scenes from with Olivia and Fitz, but people will probably most remember it in season 6, the season finale, when Fitz was boarding the plane.
Oh,
And
this
Olivia yells,
was too
"Mr.
much.
President!"
I remember
And
this.
she like runs.
Yeah, this song makes me feel emotional.
Yes.
They always have this moment
I don't know if
between
the, I don't know if
each
the
other.
wine is hidden or, but this I am
have a
feeling a little
flashback.
like, oh my God.
Yes, so this is The Light, and it is by the album Leaf.
Mm-hmm.
And
Feeling the passion up in
I-
here.
well, let's just sit, close your eyes,
Just
and
feel
soak it
it.
in.
This is when they give each other the stare.
I know.
Yeah,
This
actually,
was
no,
so
they're making
good.
out right now.
Oh,
They're making out, yeah, in
excuse
front of
me.
That passionate.
Right, they are.
Hands are like
and
this.
There's
Heads
a,
going that
one
way.
girl specifically, you know, in the paparazzi or the cameras, whatever, in the press, and she's literally like just mesmerized.
I love it.
Yeah.
But you know what's really interesting? I found out a couple weeks ago I went to Complex Con in Long Beach. I was working it. And on a panel, they were talking about, like, Ludacris was up there, Mac Wild, some other people. But they were talking about how when, like, writers or creators, when they're looking for artists to come in and, like, write something or to do their music, a lot of the times what they do is they'll invite them in or they'll let them see just the one scene. So, you know, if you take that, for example, where they would let them see, like, this and then write to it or, like, bring to it just for that one moment. I thought that was so, like,
Wow.
That is
artsy
like-
because
Interesting.
all you get is this little moment. You don't see the whole show. You don't. You may not follow the story. So I was just like, wow. When you think of how much like music really pushes
Yeah.
the narrative
Yeah,
or
and
the
the
story,
emotion.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to think about.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that before with the playlist, that she has these songs instead of just random instrumentals or something playing in the background, like kind of some movies do. Movies use the songs as well, but sometimes it's just that instrumental. You're like, oh, okay, you know. But then some, because you'll hear the lyrics too, and it's the whole way the scene is going. Sometimes they slow it down and everything, and then like it'll be probably one lyric or one word that fits the scene so well, and you're just
Yeah.
like, okay. You know?
Yes.
It gets you
Every time.
I love the type of music where it just starts off very soft, and then you get to that passionate kiss, and it just goes. I love instrumentals actually. I love hearing the violins go, and then to
Yeah.
hear the intensity go up.
Yeah.
Man,
They are nice to it. It's still music and it still gets the mood. But like I said, sometimes with the lyrics and the songs that they choose, it's like
right.
it just goes so well
It
with
gives
that
you like
scene.
that
man.
extra push, that extra mile.
Most definitely.
You're right. You're right, girl.
All
That
right.
was good. Good job.
You guys like them?
I
Yes,
appreciate
Tori
that.
coming with the wine, the
That's
music.
okay.
She coming with the whole party.
I wasn't here last week. Just
All right,
She's
I'm
coming
gonna
with
hold
it.
myself to do a playlist next week.
Okay.
You said that about the
And then
wine.
Hold on,
I was like,
hold
another
on.
next week after.
Now let's be
Sounds
clear.
fine. Bang bang. Sorry.
You know what? I'm gonna eat that, and that's fine. I'm going to do a playlist next week. It's gonna be really, really good, and it's gonna be from more than just one show. It's not just gonna be all about Grey's Anatomy.
Okay, take notes,
correction.
people.
It wasn't all about just Grey's Anatomy.
You're right.
She
You're
did
right.
do
You did do
Scandal.
Scandal. Well, I'm gonna do all three.
The left side of this room right now.
Yes, but that was good. I enjoy it.
Yay,
I
okay.
enjoyed that.
All right, well, we're gonna look forward to Keith's playlist next week. It's gonna cover all 3
Somebody
shows.
shoot me a reminder about Sunday,
Okay.
Friday. Let me do it now because
It's gonna be like, wait, I gotta binge watch Grey's
today,
Anatomy.
right. I'm like, oh my god, let me find some good ones. I gotta watch them so I know like the moment, because you gotta present the moment. And
You
then
do,
present
you
the
do.
music,
Because Tori
right?
definitely, she came with every moment just now.
She
Like,
really did. I don't know about
So.
that, but now, but she put the level up
I know,
here.
but it's our turn to do a playlist.
Okay.
Exactly.
cry, like, for
Exactly.
real.
Right.
So this is a
I'll
song
cry
from
with you.
this.
All right, guys, let's get on to the what would you do?
Yes.
Oh,
So,
y'all,
I wonder how.
Y'all hear that music?
Yeah,
Of course
we
we did.
came up with everything, girl.
Okay.
Yeah, excuse my humming in the background. So, what would you do if you were married for 10 years and your spouse wanted a divorce after 10 years?
Right.
And I want to add a little to that. You know, you get a divorce and then all of a sudden they're like in this happy relationship too after the fact. That kind of adds
Okay.
to it as well.
And
Mhm,
go ahead.
I was going to say just a little bit of a backstory.
Yes.
We have Bonnie and Frank, whose real names are Liza and
Charlie.
yes.
Mm-hmm,
So they are now dating.
right.
And they have been dating, I want to say, I believe like the last
Since
year
the last
or so.
summer. Since last summer.
Yeah.
I read. So
They
they
are-
play on How to Get Away with Murder.
Mhm.
She said
Now
you
they
too hot on
just-
set.
Hey,
Gotta
right? He
get on
is kind of
that.
fine.
And we have seen some moments with their characters
Yes.
Yes.
on the
we
show.
have.
We
Mhm.
have. We have.
And they've, but I think they
clearly
just kind of
enjoyed.
went public this year, like this summer.
Right.
They've
Super
been,
recent.
I think, like trying to keep it on the low
Low-key.
because she just divorced her husband of 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
who also was one of the characters in the Shonda Rhimes show. What was he in Scandal?
Yes, he was Paul.
Yes. And I forget his real name. So she was married to him for 10 years. They got a divorce, and I don't really know how divorce works, but something like I read it was finalized, and then I read the other day that the judge just signed off on it. So I'm not exactly sure
Yeah.
if maybe she actually was divorced at the time, but
That
still,
was gonna
So
be my
there's
fault.
still
a
maybe.
possibility she may have been seeing someone while she was with.
Right.
Right.
And that
Legally
changed the
still.
whole situation.
I don't think it does. But I'm going to let you go.
So yeah, so after 10 years of marriage and your spouse wants a divorce,
Okay, wait. So they want a divorce and they were already seeing somebody else?
you kind of find out like a
Or
little
I
bit later.
All but
Okay.
all you.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah. I'm gonna say-
Well, we not getting a divorce.
what you
Thank
mean?
you.
Okay, I'm Team Tori.
Because, okay,
Mm-mm.
it's been 10 years. Now, if you're randomly coming to me saying that you want a divorce and I didn't really see any signs or you didn't really come to me and try to tell me kind of what issues you had, if I remember correctly, on our wedding day, we made a vow. And you just not going to get rid of me that easily.
Preach.
10 years? I mean, maybe if it were like a year or two, and even then, you're going to have to fight me before we get a divorce.
Listen,
So...
let me tell you something.
What you got to say?
Okay, so let me just say a few things because, for one, I feel that for me, what I was saying, like, it doesn't change if she was, legally still married or not, or seeing somebody else, because ultimately the only thing I can be responsible for is like what you want with me. So, I can add that to it, but that's just going to be my ego, my pride, and all that other stuff. Not only that, but if you think about a marriage that's been going on for 10 years, like, I don't know when you were out, when you decided to check out of the marriage. It could have been years, and now you're just dating somebody. For me, I never want to be the person, like, in the posture of, like, oh, I've been with you for 10 years. This is going to happen, and that's what it's going to be. Naturally, I think, like, that would be my inclination or my reaction, but I would much prefer to be the type of person that if a man or if somebody's telling me, like, it's been 10 years and you can come to me and tell me that you really don't want to be with me, that you don't want to be married. Like, I want that to be enough for me to walk. Okay, then maybe, okay, so then I don't want to fight for something that you don't want to be in. And then with it being so long, it's like, okay, are you using that? Or am I using that as a crutch? Are you using it as a crutch? Like, because we've been in 10 years, now you're feeling like you owe me and you're going to stick it out. You've been sticking it out for 10 years. So,
But then why did you get married?
Exactly.
Well,
That's a good
why you
point.
get married, it could be a whole nother reason from what happens and who you turn into and how your life transitions in a matter of 10 years. Like, that's such a huge amount of time. How old were you? Like, so many things can change. So I wouldn't doubt your intention or why you got married. I get that there are hiccups. Hopefully, you know, if we had in, like, is it salvageable, or is it to the point where you already moved out, you're seeing somebody? Like, if it's this situation, then there's not really anything I can do about it. But I would want somebody to give me enough respect that maybe 2 years in, 5 years in, like a pulse check. Do we need to do counseling? Like, is this something that's feasible, or are you really just done?
Yeah. Counseling. Let's first get something straight. This is marriage. This isn't, oh, you're my boyfriend, girlfriend type of situation. You're talking about marriage.
Yeah, but
You made a commitment to me, so that means you're committing to going to marriage.
So that's true.
counseling,
I just want
talking it out with
let me just interject 1 second, because I get, like, ideally we all see marriage as this big thing, but look at the world we live in and how look at the divorce rate. So
I don't care about that.
Yeah,
I'm
you
talking
can
about me.
ask.
you think you the only one that's gonna say that?
I'm talking about me, and let me tell you something right here, right now. Whatever future husband, you is not
Okay.
divorcing me. You
can't quit me, huh?
Okay.
Listen, we would sit down and have a conversation about it. We would try counseling. For me, like, yeah, I'm not gonna just back away, like, oh, you're done? All right, fine.
Right.
We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna see how things go. But if we kind of go through counseling, we take all the steps to try to fix it or work it out, and it's still not working out, then I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Because and the same thing, I don't want to be, this is a marriage, and I'm supposed to be committed to you for life, so I don't want to be miserable. I don't want to be uncomfortable. I don't want to be second guessing. I don't want to start thinking that you are, now starting to step out on the marriage because you've already expressed to me that you're not happy, or that you want to leave. So the first step is trying to fix it, and then if we can't fix it, then bye.
And I would like to think also, with relationships and with entertainment, like, we see it, but we don't know how far in, their relationship or what they've done. Like, they could have done canceling and, now to the point where, okay, maybe I was hiding it because are you doing that for me? You know what I mean?
Right,
So where it is comfortable. Because I think of, remember with Grey's Anatomy with Jesse, when we heard, like, he divorced his wife after so many years, and wasn't he dating the girl on the show as well? Well, it was a rumor that he was dating the redhead.
Wait, like the
was.
character-wise or in real life?
No,
No,
in real life.
I didn't hear about that.
No.
I recall it. We're going to try to find it and put it on Twitter. But if not, it was rumored. And I remember his response was like, people really think that after all this time that I was with this woman that I just picked up and I'm going to be this guy and just in this relationship. Like, that's not what happened. Although that's maybe what we consume or what we see, in media. It seemed like
Once
it.
you get on it.
Let's hope not. But I don't know. Honestly, what would you do? I would be devastated. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know whose car going to look like what. I don't know whose house
Listen,
going to
'cause
look
I was
like.
gonna say, as long as we got married here in California, we made our 10-year mark. You can go, but half your stuff can stay.
Okay.
Let's be clear. I want what's
California,
mine.
half of yours is
You only
mine.
have. I don't know. That's tough. Like,
Yeah.
I don't ever want to be in
I
that
know,
Now, I get
situation.
certain situations. Like, now,
Yes.
with certain divorces, there are situations where you do have to get out, like abusive, all that stuff. But if you're like, say, some people get exhausted of their relationship, why did you not communicate with me? Why can't we come to a compromise? Why can't we go
Right.
to counseling? Why can't
Why
we
don't
work
you
this
keep your
out?
marriage
I agree,
lively?
yeah. I
But
agree,
10 years,
but-
I'm sure you've been exhausted. I'm sure, like, 10 years of life with somebody.
Yeah, but no one said
And that's
marriage was
just
going to
marriage.
be
Right.
easy.
So there's
I'm
no
just
way.
Just marriage.
But that's why I think
We've been
there's
together longer than that is what I'm saying.
There's
Like,
no
yeah.
way to think that somebody has been with somebody for 10 years and that they wouldn't think to go through any of these steps. Like,
Right.
we have to give, like, celebrities or actors or entertainers a break. Like, we just be like, oh my God, it's been 10 years. Is she still married? She's not. She with homeboy. They on the show together. Rah, rah, rah. They caught feelings. But it's like, if I spend 10 years, like, really married to somebody, that's 1 year. People don't make one. People don't make 3, 5. So I would like to think that you're going to, go through the motions or you're going to do something.
Yeah. But people also, they don't talk before getting into a marriage. Sometimes they rush into it.
Yeah, but
And that's what
Bingo.
makes it
But
so
if you've been
horrible.
married for 10 years, you done did some talking.
Right.
Well,
You
you
can
would
talk
hope
within
that
the
you
marriage.
right.
You could
And-
stay married for
exactly.
10 years? Who can do that? That's a lifetime.
I hope I
like,
can
you
do
don't
that.
want to do, you know.
I
Oh,
know.
No, like I think with you were like who could do that without talking about it? Like
Right, that's
eventually,
my
like
point.
some of those
But
things
by
have
that
to come
time,
up.
you're already in the marriage.
But if you
Yeah.
can stick in it, like if we rush into marriage and we didn't know much about each other, like, oh my God, 2 years in, 3 years in, by 10 years, oh, you know the person.
Yeah.
You better
But
know
that's why
something.
they call it the honeymoon phase,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you actually
Okay,
get ready for
get into
the
the real-
marriage.
Yeah.
The work.
Because like the 2 to 3 years, that may be easier to get out of
Yeah.
than 10 years.
Right, because you
have-
really become like dependent and like, you
Yeah.
know, that companionship piece to it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, because best believe if you and me, we go to work.
Listen, I'm looking forward to my
You go
marriage.
to
I'm
work.
looking forward. You was just at a wedding. I'm ready to go to another
I'm praying
wedding.
for mine.
Okay.
I know. I'm
Knee
praying for
bowed
mine,
and body
too.
bent. Just coming sooner than later.
This is a real quick joke, guys. I on
Wait.
Facebook, it was like, "What will Santa bring you for Christmas?" Mine said a sugar daddy. I was like, "All right."
Oh,
and
I
then
saw that.
My mother was like, "No, honey, the Lord
oh my
provide
God.
with
Exactly.
everything you need."
He will.
Mama, this is
daddy.
the
I'm
Lord
just
working on
waiting.
my behalf. You need to
Send me
step
my
out of
man.
this.
Right.
This is it.
I was
This
with
is
the
him
sugar
working.
daddy for a little bit. I don't know.
Oh Lord, my heart.
I cannot.
Jesus.
I
If that
cannot.
was
Pray
us.
for all of our husbands.
Hopefully, if that was us, we could stay
Send them
together
on.
as a family
Right.
and celebrate Thanksgiving because it is coming up Thursday.
Oh my God.
We have a few tips we want to give you guys real quick before we get out of here.
Yes.
Yes.
only got a few minutes.
Thanksgiving, as you guys don't know, is my favorite holiday.
Oh, nice.
So I actually got a notification. It was from the New York Times, and they just gave they gave a lot. Actually, I'm gonna tweet and post the link on our Instagram story.
Great.
Okay.
Because it's a lot. But there are a few that I've picked out. Some of the driving tips is, you know, if you're going on a long car ride and you haven't been, you know, doing that for a while, check your car. You know, get
Yeah.
your oil changed, check the tire pressure. They also said get an emergency kit.
No, that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
I
Yeah.
guess I've never had one of those in my car, but I guess technically you should have
No,
one.
you should have one.
You should have
my-
like a blanket, an emergency kit in the trunk, and as a millennial, you should always have an overnight bag, just in
Yes,
case.
that I have heard that.
charger, some water,
I have
Yes.
not.
a jumper.
Oh,
Cables.
jumper
Thing.
cables.
Not just the cable, but the other side with the battery, so that you
Oh,
can.
nice.
In
You don't
case
have to
there's not
deal
a
with
couple-
nobody.
There you go.
To save money, they said to either drive late at night or to drive early in the morning because things are closed and then you have to keep pushing through. And if you have kids, drive while they're sleeping.
Yeah.
And then to BYOC, which I have never heard of, but can you guess that it means
Bring your own
caffeine?
Oh.
Yeah, I know. So that was interesting. And then obviously have podcasts just in case the radio goes out. There were 11 on there. Like I said, I'll put the link up. But there was one called Gravy, and the name of their podcast was Jello Makes the Modern Mountain Woman.
Okay.
It sounded interesting. And then the other one was Shamanners, and they have a podcast called Thanksgiving. So
Oh, so it's a
something
holiday
interesting.
podcast.
Yeah.
Nice.
So totally something to
Being
listen
hyped
to.
for the moment while you're
On your way to eat all
whoever
that
you're
turkey
going
and
to.
sweet
That's
potato
great.
pie and whatnot. Okay. And then they had recipe and kitchen tips. 5 cheapest, which probably really isn't that cheap, things to prep for Thanksgiving. You'll need kitchen towels. You'll need sheet pans. You'll need a thermometer. You'll also need wine openers, most importantly,
Definitely.
obviously.
Of course.
And then you'll need a serrated knife, which apparently is not just for bread, but it also cuts fruits. And don't use it for meat.
Okay.
Right.
And
Well.
then, I don't know.
It's
You
okay.
can click
That's
on the
fine.
link, though.
I'll click on that link. You know, you sure.
We'll check
And
it
then
out.
what to bring to a potluck. They have several foods, but I picked out sweet potato casserole,
That's a good one.
lemon garlic kale salad
Don't
for
bring
all
that to
of
my Thanksgiving.
I was trying to be universal. Brown butter skillet cornbread.
I wish you brought that now.
I know.
I'm kind of hungry.
I'm not a fan of pumpkin, but for all of you who are, pumpkin chocolate chip cookies.
Okay.
And
Never
then
heard of
cranberry orange relish.
Nah, that don't sound good.
Like
That
I
sounds
said.
like cranberry sauce and maybe like an orange garnish.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I envision.
Something different for those
Yeah.
that like cranberry sauce. Or
I'm just
relish.
only against the kale because like it's Thanksgiving. Just go all out. Like
Yeah,
you know
live
what I
your
mean?
life.
Like
Live
I
your
know some
life.
people are still
Live your best life.
yeah, they stay healthy
and-
365. I commend you.
That's
yeah.
fine.
So those were just a few. They have, I mean, some of the other things they touched on were like rules for Thanksgiving wines because some people don't know how to bring wine at Thanksgiving. And then the last second, event planning. You're hosting Thanksgiving, but you didn't start prepping till the night before.
Yep,
So-
I know so many
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
my family.
Oh, and one of my favorites that I saw, how to host and talk to your family at the dinner table.
That's a good
I
one.
think a lot of people should read that one.
Okay.
Definitely.
But yeah, so
That's
just a
good.
few tips as we send you guys on your merry way for Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Definitely. That was a good way to close it out. Yes. So we will see you guys next week. Well, actually, guys, I will be out next week because I'm taking like a week break for my little holiday break. So
Oh,
I will be
nice.
out next week. But the week after, I will see you guys. But Shondaland Weekly will still be airing next week.
Okay.
And I want to just say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Once again, I'm Elle Marie. You guys can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Elle Marie TV.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving, guys. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Tori_Broussard. And I will send out the link, Instagram and Twitter, for your Thanksgiving tips. I know we all need them.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I'm Keith Andre. You can follow me everywhere at Keith_Andre. And I'll be back after Buzz tomorrow night for This Is Us at 10 p.m. So you can check that out before you head off to the holidays.
I am looking forward to the food that Tori's going to bring me. So you can find me, Lynneisha, on Twitter and Instagram at Lynneisha spelled Lanisha 914.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
See you later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.